Blips and Grips, The Gears of Babylon Prologue. In a small workshop smelling faintly of oil and fried circuitry, sat Blips, a diminutive robot with an air of intellectual superiority. Perched on a stool, his tiny wrench-like hands polished his chassis to a mirror finish. Grips, his towering counterpart with a red eye that blinked lazily, stared at the shiny reflection of herself. She was more interested in the packet of candy in her metal paws than in Blip's compulsive buffing. Meanwhile, in the corner of the workshop sat the Chrononautilus, a time machine cobbled together by mismatched gears and hissing pipes, looking less like an invention of a genius and more like a refrigerator that had fought in several wars and lost. The story starts with Blips. "Victory will be mine," Blips muttered, admiring his reflection. Yeah, very impressive, shiny boy," Grips grumbled between mouthfuls of candy. "Can we get a move on already? I wanna smash something." And so, the scene was set for another adventure. "Grips, you insufferable buffoon," Blips snapped, barely glancing at her. "Is it too much to ask for you to cease your incessant chewing for 5 minutes? We're about to embark on yet another delicate venture into the annals of time itself, and your, how do I put this, primitive tendencies are a hindrance to my supreme intellect." Grips leaned over, her large hand resting on the top of Blip's tiny head with a slight thud. "Oh, really, smarty bits? You mean your fancy pants supreme intellect that got us chased by a T-Rex last time?" Blip's blue eyes flickered with irritation. "That was a minor miscalculation." He tapped the side of his shades. "We are not here to dwell on past mishaps. No, today, we journey to one of the most elusive wonders of the ancient world, the Hanging Gardens of Babylon." "Gardens?" Grips scoffed. "What's so great about a bunch of plants? Can you smash 'em?" Blips sighed. "No, you oversized dolt. It's not just about plants. The Hanging Gardens of Babylon were an architectural marvel, an astounding feat of engineering. Watered by intricate irrigation systems, they represented the pinnacle of human ingenuity." "Blah blah blah," Grips droned, staring at the Chrononautilus. "Let's just go already. I hope they have snacks." Dialogue. The interior of the Chrononautilus shook and clanged as it rattled through the time stream. Blips stood at the console, adjusting levers and twisting dials with expert precision, his shades balanced precariously on his tiny nose. "Right, we should be arriving shortly," Blips said with authority. "The date is approximately 605 BC, the reign of Nebuchadnezzar II, and we shall witness the splendor of the gardens firsthand. You may want to brace yourself, Grips. You're not particularly known for your balance, or grace, or intellect, for that matter." Yeah, Grips growled, stuffing more candy into her mouth. "Just get us there." With a loud clunk and a puff of steam, the Chrononautilus ground to a halt. The doors creaked open, revealing a vast city of mud brick walls and towering ziggurats, the likes of which Grips had never seen before. "Oi, Blips, what is this place? Looks like a pile of mud to me." Blips rolled his eyes dramatically. "This is Babylon, Grips. One of the most powerful cities of the ancient world. Do try to contain your astonishment." As they stepped out, they were greeted by a bustling city square. Tall, stone walls surrounded them, and in the distance, a breathtaking structure loomed, a towering mass of greenery suspended in the air, vines cascading down stone terraces. "Behold," Blips declared, waving his tiny hands. "The Hanging Gardens of Babylon. A triumph of hydraulic technology and aesthetic beauty." Grips muttered, squinting up at the greenery. "Looks like a big salad to me. Can we go punch something now?" Blips sighed, exasperated. "No, we are not here to punch something. We are here to learn, observe, and most importantly, not interfere with the timeline." Grips grunted, already eyeing a large stone block nearby that looked suspiciously like it needed smashing. Their tour of Babylon proceeded with Blips waxing poetic about ancient irrigation systems, while Grips lagged behind, picking up random objects and crushing them absent-mindedly in her giant hands. Blips finally stopped in front of a large brass pipe that ran through the heart of the gardens. Ah. This is the heart of the irrigation system. If I'm correct, and I always am, this pipe pumps water from the Euphrates River up to the gardens, an engineering marvel that, clang. Blips turned, his blue eyes wide with horror, as Grips' massive fist connected with the pipe, bending it like a cheap soda can. Whoops, Grips said, not looking remotely sorry. It was in my way. Someone threw a spanner in the works. Blips screeched, rushing over to assess the damage. Do you have any idea what you've done, you colossal nincompoop? This pipe is essential to the functioning of the entire garden. Grips shrugged. Relax, shiny boy. It's just a dumb pipe. Blips glared at her. Do you have any idea what happens when a major irrigation system fails? Historical consequences, Grips. I shall not stand idly by as you. Suddenly, a gushing sound filled the air. Water exploded from the broken pipe, drenching Blips and creating a flood that rushed through the streets of Babylon. Who farted? Blips spluttered as water sprayed everywhere, short-circuiting some of his circuits in the process. Grips, on the other hand, was having the time of her life. She laughed heartily as the water swept people and carts away, completely oblivious to the havoc she'd caused. Ending, by the time Blips managed to rebend the pipe with his wrench-like hands and stop the flood, the city square was a soggy mess. Babylonian citizens were glaring at them, and Blips was drenched, his shades askew. You absolute menace, Blips shouted, slapping Grips' massive arm with his tiny wrench hands. Do you know what you've done? You've altered the course of history. Grips blinked, then casually popped another candy in her mouth. Hey, they'll be fine. I mean, you fixed it, right? Blips threw his hands up in exasperation. I can only hope the damage is minimal. This is why we never interact with the timeline. Hey, don't worry, Shiny. Next time, I'll let you do all the boring stuff while I find something better to punch. Epilogue. Back in the workshop, Blips stood in front of a mirror, polishing his chassis yet again. His circuits were still damp, but he refused to let Grips see him defeated. Next time, Grips, Blips muttered, his voice dripping with sarcasm. Try not to break the very fabric of history, will you? Grips stretched out on a workbench, picking bits of candy out of her gears. Yeah? Just let me know when we're going somewhere cool again. Like with dinosaurs. Blips shuddered at the memory. No more dinosaurs. Grips grinned. We'll see. And with that, the workshop was filled with the clanking of metal, the hum of ancient history, and the quiet promise of another adventure to come.